All right, Panther fans. So, yesterday the Panthers played game number 41. You know what that means. Midseason. Time for midseason grades. I did the same thing last year. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grade the players. I've done absolutely no prep other than watching all the games. um, and then I will give you my opinion on grading Maurice and the whole staff there as a whole, I guess. And then we'll talk a little bit like we did last year about the state of the channel. I like to grade the channel. So, all right. So I'm going to go with the players first. Now, what I'm going to do in the interest of saving the best for last, so to speak, is I'm going to grade the players in order of points that they've scored, but I'm going to go from the bottom up. Now, guys that really don't have much of a grade so far are Giles, Warnfoot, and Asplund. Okay? Gadjevich has played 18 games. He's got a whole point. Gadjevich has been, what's the word? Uninspiring. He's been on the ice. I haven't really noticed him on the ice, and every time he's on the ice, the biggest thing I notice is that the next thing we hear, he's hurt. So, I liked him last year. Maybe his body is having trouble with all of the extra hockey that he played last year. He plays a rough, tough, physical style, so no disrespect there. It wouldn't surprise me if we picked up another guy along the way. Not to say off the bottom of the scrap heap, so to speak, but I don't really know that Gadjevich is going to be somebody we can depend upon in the playoffs if he's having a lot of injury issues. So we'll just give him a C, right? I mean, it is what it is. Next up is Thomas Nosek. Now, he's played 29 games for us. He's got 5 points. Now, we know the start of the season, he wasn't quite ready. And, Bolquist was on that fourth line. Thought it looked pretty good. A little bit of a different dynamic to the fourth line, obviously, when you talk about having maybe Bolquist and Samoskevich and Greer on that fourth line. It's very, it's quicker fourth line, not overly physical. Nosek came in, he looked kind of uninspiring, right? The first few weeks, maybe the first 3 weeks. But recently, especially the last couple of weeks, he looks more and more like what we would need out of a 4C. So for a little bit of time there, I was thinking, I'm not so sure that we might, if we want to be serious cup contenders, we might need to upgrade at 4C. I think when you look at some of the other deficiencies that the team has, I think attempting to upgrade at 4C at this point would probably be a luxury that we cannot afford unless somebody just plops into our lap as a residual effect of any other trades that we might make. So I'm going to go ahead and give Nosek a B. Yeah, because I couldn't tell whether to give him a B minus or a B plus, so we'll give him a B. But it's a very incomplete B. If his improvement arc continues to move as it has the last few weeks, then I think we'll be solid there. Next up is Adam Boqvist. He's played 18 games. He's got 6 points. You guys know how I feel about Boqvist. Give me a fourth line. Give me a fourth line of Boqvist, and Greer or something like that. Now, Adam has played a little bit better the last few times he's been on the ice. And it's interesting because it could be very similar to the situation with Lorentz last year. I know it's a different position, but during the regular season, the first couple times Lorentz was in the lineup, right? We didn't really see a whole lot. Then he rested most of the season, came in towards the end and in the playoffs, and he was an effective player for us. Boqvist has speed. We've seen him catch up multiple times from poor defensive positioning or needing to rush up the ice. He has that ability, and he does have some ability to run the power play, but size is an issue, physicality is an issue when you start talking about playing Tampa, Toronto, Boston, some of these other teams. I'm a little queasy about him being in the top 6 in terms of the defense, but he's a young player. I don't necessarily think I want to completely give up on him. I'd like to see how he can develop. I just wish he was a little bit bigger. I'm going to give him a C+. I'm going to give him a C+. He hasn't had a tremendous length of opportunity. He's been in and out of the lineup, so I won't be too harsh on him. Dmitry Kulikov. He's played all 41 games. He's got 8 points. I cannot give Kulikov anything but an A. right? I mean, is the dude perfect? No. How many? He's made more plays though, like he did in last year's Game 7. He's always the dude that's in front of the net, clearing the crease, clearing the puck out of a dangerous way. It's always Kulikov, and just for that reason alone, I'll give him an A. Last night he had to fill in for Ekblad on the top pair. Everything was fine. He's had to be on the second pair with Mikkola. Looks good. Now again, is this a playoff? Is this something we can do in the playoffs against top tier competition? None of it's going to matter if we don't start scoring goals. So in terms of what we're asking Kulikov to do, I'm going to give him an A because we are asking him on a nightly basis to do way more than we really should, and he's coming through for us. Next up is Nate Schmidt, he's played 39 games and also has 8 points. Schmidt, very similar to what I said, some sense about Nosek. Now, Schmidt was ready to start the season. I think the hope, the feeling from Zito with Schmidt was, hey, if OEL can kind of come in after having some downtime and look better with us, maybe Schmidt can do the same thing. Schmidt's not been bad. That's what I can say about him. Okay? I'll give Schmidt a B. The play on the ice might be a C, but he gets an A for effort. So we'll give him a B. Another guy where you see the effort, you see he has the smarts to play the game, but does he have the physical ability to be matched up against these top-tier teams come the playoffs? Let's put it this way. When Schmidt is on the ice, he is as good as the goalie is going to be because the other team is going to get opportunities. And when you look at the final numbers of a game, whether or not Schmidt was on the ice for a goal or two has nothing to do with whether he allowed an opportunity or not. It has everything to do with whether or not the goalie made the save. So he's serviceable. I love his effort. I love his personality. Would I like to get an upgrade to go into the playoffs with? You bet. Absolutely. Next up is AJ Greer. He's played all 41 games. He's got 9 points. I can give him an A. I'll give him an A. I'll give him an A. I wanted to kind of give him an A- because I'd like to see him score more. But he's on the fourth line. What do you expect? I think the worst thing about AJ Greer is that he's not Ryan Lomberg, right? But he's been looking better. As Nosek has improved, Greer has become a little bit more noticeable, right? Those first few weeks when Nosek came back into the lineup, Greer kind of disappeared. Didn't look like he had a whole lot of energy. But now those two seem to be getting a little bit of chemistry. Is it a Stanley Cup worthy fourth line? We're going to find. I think we're going to find out. I think we're going to find out, right? So I'm going to give him an A because he plays his role. When was the last time you saw Greer was out of position and it led to a goal? So I'll go ahead and give him an A. Would love to see him just a goal here more from the fourth line would really do wonders since we're only scoring one a night. Next up is Uvis Balinskis. He's played 38 games. He's got 10 points. I'm going to go ahead and give him a B. He looked solid to start the season. He had 2 or 3 weeks where he looked like completely out of place and lost. And he come back into the lineup and he looks good again. So, very similar to the situation with Kulikov. I think we're asking Balinskis on a nightly basis to be a little bit better than he is. And for the most part, he's holding his own. It's not perfect. He has a tendency to hold on to the puck a little bit longer than he should. But he does have some ability where if he could harness it right, he might be a little bit of a help there in terms of moving the puck. I think some of these guys have the ability to move the puck a little bit faster, but not everybody is paired with somebody that can handle that. You know what I mean? So if it's Balinskis Schmidt, you don't want to go run and gun because we've seen it before. You get Schmidt coming into the zone, in the offensive zone, and if the puck is back out the other way, it's not going to turn out too well for us. So I'll give him a B. I think he's done well, all things considered. Next up is Max Samaskevich, 36 games, 12 points. Really hasn't been any reason for him to not play all 41 other than Paul Maurice is a crusty old bastard. Samaskevich, I'm going to go ahead and give him an A- at this point. Now, he certainly is the guy on the ice with the most energy most nights. But what do you expect? He's young, he's hungry, he hasn't been in the long playoff runs. So by default, he really should be the guy on the ice with the most energy every night. The minus is he's got to put the puck in the back of the net just a little bit more. He's getting plenty of opportunities. He can skate circles around the guys on the fourth line when he's out there on the fourth line. We need some points out of that advantage. Similar to how, especially last year, when you looked at the third line and you saw with Lundell, and it's an advantage against the other team. If you're going to have Samaskevich on that fourth line and his speed and energy is going to be an advantage, he's got to get in the net a few more times, or at least hit the net more, and maybe Greer or Nosek can knock in some rebounds. So I think that will come. I think especially for Samaskevich, since he's such a young player. And, there's that fine line with Maurice, right? If you blow your nose wrong, you're going to sit on the bench if you're a rookie. So I honestly feel like, on one hand, we're giving him opportunities like every once in a while on the power play and whatnot that I think he's earned. But I also think he feels maybe a little bit more pressure than he needs to feel to make something happen to stay in the lineup. And that's on Maurice. So right now, he hasn't taken Samaskevich out of the lineup too many times. And he's handled it well when he's come back. But I think at this point, I would like to see Maurice stop playing games with him and continue to get him in the lineup, give him more opportunities. Maybe some of these nights, instead of moving for Hagee back up, move Samaskevich up. I mean, how many games in a row do we only got to score one goal? How about in the third period, Barkov, Reinhart, Samaskevich? This, to me, is a purely stubbornistic problem that only comes from Paul Maurice. And I think that I would not be surprised if there were other players on the team that have the opinion of, hey, why don't you put the kid up there with so much energy and just see what happens? What's going to happen, right? What's going to happen game 50 if you give him a couple games up there? So I'll give him the A-. But boy, if he could just put the puck in the back of the net even one more time out of every 10 shots, Maurice would have no choice but to do something more with them than on the fourth line. Next up, Niko Mikkola, 36 games, 14 points. I can't give him anything but an A. Absolutely cannot give Niko Mikkola anything but an A. He has been the picture of steady, solid. He's done everything we've asked him to do. When we need a little bit of offensive juice, he will take a shot, but he's not out of position. He's got the speed. He's not super fast, but he's so damn tall. He's got the ability to get back up until this last little injury he's got here where he's been day-to-day for 2 weeks. He's been healthy and reliable. I don't think this is anything that's going to change. I'm going to give him an A. Please, can we get him a solid partner? That's the other thing, is that, hell, forget game to game he has a different partner. Many times it's period to period, because Maurice can't quite figure out who to put there on the second pair, because really none of them should be on the second pair in terms of trying to win a Stanley Cup. So I don't blame Maurice there. But Mikkola's done really well, considering the constant change of partners. He's been very, very steady. We'll give him an A. Let me take a sip of water here real quick. Next up is Jesper Boqvist, 38 games, 15 points. I want to give him an F because I want him off the team so Samaskevich gets in that spot, but I'm kidding. We should be able to live with both guys. Now, I can't really give Boqvist anything other than an A when you think about his movement around the lineup, what we're asking him to do changes drastically sometimes from night to night, and he has been the same solid, consistent player the entire time. He's definitely somebody that could fit into the style that we play if some of the other big guns would get their heads out of their asses. But I think the more that we can get Samaskevich, Boqvist, Greer on the ice, the better off we're going to be, because those are the guys with legs, Maurice. Okay? Ugh. So in terms of Jesper, I'm going to go ahead and give him an A. Of course, he could do better. All young players can improve. But considering some of the circumstances around our cap and the fact that we haven't really been able to have a plethora of draft picks coming up, I think keeping hold of a good young player like Boquist could serve us well in the future. Next up is Gustav Forsling, who's played shockingly all 41 games, has 15 points. I can't give the dude anything but an A. Now, the last couple weeks have kind of been more like A minus-ish, right? But overall, I can't give him anything but an A, because how many times is he rushing back and expending copious amounts of energy covering for Aaron Ekblad, especially when Ekblad has the puck behind the net and he's the only dude handling the puck. Everybody knows all you got to do is pressure Ekblad and he's going to give up the puck. So Forsling is just up and down and up and down and up and down the ice. You know the dude is exhausted. You can see it. If you go to the games, you can see after the whistle, Forsling practically just like puts a blankie on the ice and takes a nap. His body language is bleh. So, and I don't blame him. So I'm not going to give him anything but an A. And stay tuned for who his long-term partner is. That's all I can say. Okay, next up, Eetu Luostarinen. He's played all 41 games. He's got 15 points. I'm going to give Luostarinen a B. I would say he's done everything we asked him to do, but I think he can do more than what we're asking him to do. I'd like to see him take the next step in his development. It doesn't have to be a huge step. Now, when he's with Lundell and he's killing penalties and everything on that third line, he is as solid and consistent as you can get. Okay? There's no point where he's not giving effort. All of that is fine. But I would like to see him develop the offensive portion of his game just a little bit more. Even if it means you're just going to be hitting the net with shots more and we're going to be getting rebounds. It's not a big complaint. It's not a major complaint. But he did just have that opportunity with Bennett and Tkachuk on the second line. He did get a goal the first game. And then he's missed some opportunities. Similar to Nick Cousins, who would get opportunities from being with Bennett and Tkachuk and could not bury the puck. Now, Luostarinen has more ability than Nick Cousins, so I kind of expected more. And we know last night Maurice put Verhaeghe back up there because, Verhaeghe was scored a goal with Lundell, so immediately that means you move him, right? Again, Maurice. But anyway, Luostarinen will give him a B. No complaints, but there's room for improvement. Next up, Evan Rodriguez, who somehow gets hurt every game and still plays all 41, and he's got 17 points. I think I'm going to give everything I just said about Luostarinen apply to Rodriguez. I mean, almost a duplicate, right? Rodriguez gets, the one thing about Rodriguez is he's just like, he don't know where he's playing from shift to shift, okay? He's like the dude that just, you don't know where he's going to be. He doesn't know what side he's going to be on. For all he knows, they're going to put him in net next game. So he serves a good purpose for us, and he does a solid job everywhere we put him. But same thing as Luostarinen. He gets opportunities from playing with elite players. You've got to put the puck in the back of the net just a little bit more. Next up is Aaron Ekblad. He's played 40 games and has 20 points. What am I going to give Ekblad? Well, we'll start here. Up until this hand injury, he's been healthy, so I'm not going to take that away from him, and I'm certainly not going to blame him for getting injured when he blocked a shot with his hand. So in terms of staying on the ice, you got to give him an A because he's been on the ice. Effort, I can't give him anything but an A. Results, it's a mixed bag. I'm trying to look at plus minus. He is a plus 2. So how bad can it be, right? Now Forsling, I didn't mention this, but Forsling easily leads the team with plus minus with 19. Okay, so Ekblad's a plus 2. Y'all going to kill me if I give Aaron Ekblad an A. But I think I'm going to do it. I'll give him an A minus because, and understand, those of you who are going to get upset with the grade here, I'm not comparing him to the other players. These grades are what we expect out of the player, what we're asking out of the player, and what they're delivering, okay? This is not comparing Ekblad to Forsling or Ekblad to Kel McCarr. This is what we need out of him and what we're getting. And because of his effort and the fact that he stayed healthy, I'll give him an A minus instead of a B plus. The biggest flaw is his complete, uncanny inability to handle the puck and hold on to it when he has it in his possession in our zone. It's bad. It may as well be me out there with the puck because all somebody's got to do is come up to Ekblad and go boo. And oh crap, I lost the puck. It's unbelievable. I won't give him an F for that. But I give him a D in that department. He's gotten better at holding the puck in at the blue line, right? We're not seeing an overly, an abnormal amount of losses of the puck into blue line in terms of when he's running the power play and everything like that. That has been cleaned up. He has been trying to be a little bit more offensive. He's been taking more shots. The goals haven't been coming all that much, but he's got, and he's been healthy other than the hand. I can't fault him for his effort, so I'm going to give him an A minus, but good God. Go take some drills, Aaron, please. Right? Learn how to handle the puck. I don't understand how that part of his game is so glaringly bad as compared to the rest. Next up, Anton Lundell, 40 games, 26 points. Lundell would get an A if he was just filling in for Barkov every night. I don't know what happens to that dude, but he goes up there and he's like, okay, now I have to be Barkov. And he's not exactly Barkov, but we've all seen it. When we need him to step up in Barkov's absence, we're like, oh, that's the dude. That's the dude we need, Anton Lundell. Now, maybe that is because of the role that he's playing, right? He goes up into that top line. He plays the role we need him to play, goes back to the third line, plays the defensive role that we need him to play. The only role he's not been fantastic at filling is filling in for Sam Bennett. So I'm going to give Lundell a B+. A little bit too inconsistent. A little bit, and I know he's been moved around and everything like that, but he's becoming a little bit of a hot, cold. And for what we need out of him on that third line, we need that third line to be an advantage against most teams on every night. We need him to bring the energy that he brings when he's filling in for Barkov. We need him to bring that on the third line. That's why we won the cup. That's a big part of why we won the cup. Because eventually the other teams just don't have the players in that bottom six to match up when Lundell, Luosterainen, and whoever they've got on their wing for that shift is going right. So I'll give him a B+. There's some room for improvement there. He's still a very, very young player. So I'm still bullish on where he's going to go. Next up is Sam Bennett. He's played 39 games and has 27 points. He's also a -16. Now Bennett, I expected more out of Bennett in a contract year, but that's okay. It's possible we could be seeing a slight deterioration in his play style due to consistently being overly physical and playing through nagging injuries. Now, that doesn't mean Bennett is cooked or Bennett is done. It could mean that Bennett could just use a whole damn summer off. That could be it, right? It's a shame. I'm not saying it's a shame that he's healthy, but he's had some recurring things from time to time. And I think if anybody on the team could benefit from hey, you go to the LTIR and rest up, it would be Sam Bennett. I believe that's what we're seeing. I believe we're just seeing a little bit of a regression and a Not always, but there's some times when you kind of see the lack of desire to be overly physical, probably because he's hurting. That's what I'm getting out of him. So I don't know if I already gave him a grade, but we'll give him a B plus. It's tough because when guys are hurt, you kind of get the feeling that you want to cut them some slack. But Bennett can be better. I think overall, I think Bennett could be better. Next up is Carter Verhaeghe, 41 games, 29 points, minus 22. Because I know everybody is going to talk about his defense. Minus 22. So, Carter versus Swiggy Swaggy. Signed a contract, and he has been extraordinarily inconsistent since then. Now, why that is not because he signed the contract. Verhaeghe has a role. Verhaeghe has a job. His job is to eat off of the physicality and the opportunities that present themselves from the relentless forecheck and backcheck that this system is supposed to employ. Without that, he's forced into trying to do things for himself, and in some ways, he's that kind of player. But in many ways, he's not. And what I'm saying is that how many times we're recycling the puck and forechecking and backchecking and doing everything that we're supposed to be doing. And there's chaos on the ice because we're just coming in swarms. Verhaeghe gets the puck and the defense is all out of position because we've been winding them like a clock with puck possession for 45 seconds. Verhaeghe gets the puck, slides over, finds the empty spot, bucks in the back of the net. It ain't happening. Okay? It's like blaming the quarterback for not having any passing yards when all we're doing is running the ball. Now, I understand without the goals, the deficiencies in his game stand out. But those deficiencies have always been there. Okay? Makes up for it by winning every game in overtime, third period goal, give it to Swaggy, right? But that's a product of the relentless work that this team is supposed to be doing that they are not doing right now. So I understand the frustration with the results on the ice in terms of Verhaeghe. He doesn't suddenly suck, okay? This was a Stanley Cup championship team. And what I mean when I say that is you can look at each player and look at their specific roles and what they're supposed to be doing as singulars, as pairs, as threesomes, and you can see that certain guys have certain roles. His role is to feast off of the effort that the rest of the team is putting in. They're not putting it in. He's not getting the same level of opportunities. The defense is not in chaos and out of position when he has the puck. So instead, he's having to skate around with the puck and try to make his own opportunities because nobody else is doing any work, and it's not working. So I'm going to give him a B. All the players can do better. But Verhaeghe's drop-off is not all it seems to be. It's just not happening for the reasons I think a lot of people think it is. Next up is Alexander Barkov, who's only played 31 games and has 35 points. His plus minus is 0. I can't give Barkov anything other than an A, right? I can't really give him anything other than an A. He's doing what he does. He's being Barkov. He's having injuries and being out. And then he has moments where he can take over a game like he did against St. Louis and single-handedly win the damn thing for us. I can't come up with any real complaints. He's Barkov. He's everything that we need him to be. Every player can improve, but this is him. This is who he is. This is his prime. This is who he is. No complaints whatsoever. It's very simple to grade him because there's nothing to complain about. We all see it every night on the ice. Even when the team is not doing well, you can see Barkov just, if he wants the puck, he's going to keep the puck. It's like the opposite of Aaron Ekblad, right? If Barkov wants Kind of like when Yager, right? When Yager was going to keep the puck, you weren't getting it away from him, right? Very rarely does Barkov get the puck stripped. So we'll just give him an A, and that's easy. Next up is Matthew Tkachuk's played 36 games, has 36 points, and he's a -9. Well, Chicken Chuck. What are we going to give Chicken Chucky? I'm going to give Chicken Chuck a C-. I'm going to give Chuck a C-. He's... Everything I'm about to say is excused if he is secretly hurt and we just don't know about it. However, past that, he's not giving us the effort. He's not giving us the scoring. He's not giving us the intensity on the ice. He's giving us very little of what we're paying for and what we've expected. He doesn't kill penalties, so there's no value there. He's absolutely useless on the power play for the most part, except for every once in a while when he gets irritated and he actually does some work. Like the other night when he was in the box for 10 minutes, he got pissy, came out and decided maybe I'll fight for a position in front of the net and deflect the puck in. Oh, I did that? Okay, I'm going to go back to not giving a shit. It's very, very bothersome and worrisome what I'm seeing from him. Now, if he coasts the whole season and turns into the monster Tkachuk that we knew in the playoffs, all right, okay. But right now, what this team needs, if he's hurt, I'll excuse it, right? If he's out there skating around on one leg after he took that knee, I'll excuse it. But it doesn't look like his head is in the game, man. It really doesn't. He looks very, very emotionally detached, very energetically detached from everything that's going on the ice. Too many times he's just watching other people do the work and he's just kind of standing off, between the circle and the blue line, just waiting to get the puck and, make a head bob and pass it back off to somebody else. He ain't doing much. He sure as hell ain't doing $9.5 million worth of work. That's for sure. Okay? So you can tell I'm highly irritated with Chicken Chuck right now. C-. And that's being generous, Chucky. Get your shit together. Get your head out of your ass. And of course, Sam Reinhart's leading the team in points, played all 41 games, has 46 points. I'm going to give him an A-. Because the last 2 weeks have been ass bad. Okay? Back passes to nobody. Flubbed shots. Not really doing the work in the corners, which is not hugely his job. It's been bad. He's been bad for 2 weeks straight now, give or take. So I'll give him an A-. A for everything else. That's fine. And maybe he's just in a little slump. Okay, we can get rid of the minus by the beginning of by the end of the season. Maybe he's tired. Maybe he's sick. Maybe he's hurt. Blah blah blah. He can't be on a 60-goal pace the entire season, every season. Okay, I can hear all of that. It's the other aspects of his game, like the passes to nobody that we've seen. But the passes to nobody, they look like they're coming from laziness. Like, I don't want the puck. He's not mentally engaged, very similarly to the way Tkachuk is. Like, they're just out there. I understand physically coasting, but they look clocked out mentally. Reinhart, Tkachuk especially right now, look clocked out mentally. I wouldn't say that so much about Sam Bennett. I don't think Barkov has the physical ability to clock out mentally, and no complaints there. But certainly Chucky and Reinhart, Reinhart not as much as Chucky, but it's not been good. And if you look, that's our top two scorers is Reinhart and Chucky. I mean, as much as we're giving Tkachuk shit, he's got 14 goals. He's second on the team, right? Barkov's got 11. Verhee's got 10. Bennett's got 13. Nobody else has more than 10. Lundell's at 9. So if Reinhart and Tkachuk are mentally checked out on vacation still, well, it's no wonder we're only scoring 1 goal a game. So that's it for the players. That's it for the players. All right, so of course I'm interrupting your regularly scheduled. I forgot to do the goalies, so cut me some slack. All right, so I'm gonna grade the goalies now. There's just no video for it. So in terms of Spencer Knight, what do we got? He's got 2.8 goals against, and where's the save percentage of 891? So I think overall I'm going to give Spencer Knight a B plus. I think he's played relatively well considering that we're still just using him as a backup. We kind of treat him as though he's a 33-year-old experienced veteran and just randomly throw him out there whenever we feel like it and expect him to have success. He's looked much better in terms of his movement and in terms of his ability to stay focused, especially early in the games. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a B. What did I say? Did I say B or B plus? We'll give him a B plus because he got the goals against down under 3. Just I'd like to see a little bit more consistency from him. I don't see any reason why he can't get more starts. Right now, he's at 15 starts. Bob has had 27. I don't know why we wouldn't want to even that out a little bit. But again, that's Maurice. But there's no reason to run Bobrovsky. We're halfway through the season and he's on pace for 54 starts. There's really no reason for Bob's number to be anything over 45. Let him get some rest. So yeah, Spencer Knight, and you can choose anywhere between a B and a B plus. Now, in terms of Bobrovsky, 2.76 goals against. And his save percentage is finally up above 900 again at 901. I think if Bob's performance, how can I put this? I'm not blaming him for many of the numbers. I said this before, I'll say it again. Much of the responsibility, in my opinion, lies in the fact that the forwards are not doing the hard work that is required in this system. Bob has been dealing with a lot more high-quality scoring chances. And we have also allowed teams to cycle the puck on us because we're not really being aggressive in our defense. So what I saw in the Edmonton game, the last 5-10 minutes of that game, showed me that playoff Bob still exists. Does he still have the stamina and the juice to go an entire playoff run that way? I would suspect he does. I would absolutely think that he does, but it would be important to get Spencer Knight some more starts. There's really no reason to run Bob into the ground here. I know he's a goalie that likes to play a lot, and there's that, but a few more starts for Spencer wouldn't hurt. So in terms of Bobrovsky's grade, I'm going to go ahead and give him an A minus. I think his performance has been as good as you can expect considering the deficiencies on defense and the difference in play from the forwards. There's been a few spots where I think Bob could have played a little bit better, but generally speaking, even though his numbers aren't great, we are not seeing the problems we saw in the first couple of years when he was here, where he was off his angle and letting in bad goals. I think for the most part, once we solve the defensive problems that we have from both the defensemen and the forwards, I think you'll see Bob's numbers even out to more of what we're used to. The overall grade for the team, B minus. I want to say a C. But I'm going to say B minus because they did go to the cup 2 times in a row. Okay? If they had only made it 1 time and they won, and this was their defense, I would be a little bit more irritable. But they played 2 full 82-game seasons, made it to the cup twice in a row. So I'm going to give them a B minus. We'll give them a little bit of leeway there for the obvious exhaustion that they must be feeling. And the fact that they've kept themselves, first, second place. We haven't really dove down to 4th place, and it ain't that far away, but I feel confident that these guys will get it together enough to make the playoffs. Although there have been some games where that's been iffy. So I'll give him a B minus, but boy, is that close to a C. It really, really, really close to a C. Now, in terms of Paul Maurice, man, I want to give him a C minus, but I'm going to give him a C. Now, he tried the whole yell and scream trick at them the other night. That did nothing. He's, in my opinion, been at times mismanaging Samoskevich. His inability to just stick with the guy with Mikla in the second pair. I understand what he's doing. Excuse me. I understand to some extent why that's happening. But it just kind of feels like there's some stubbornness behind the scenes to moves that he could try, but just doesn't want to take the time to do it. Us scoring one goal a game and Samoskevich languishing on the fourth line when he clearly has the most energy of anybody on the team, that's just stupid. It's just stupid. We have the cup. We are in a position where we know we're going to lack energy during the regular season. Here comes this kid who every time he touches the puck, he's flying around everybody because he's got more energy than everybody else. And you got him languishing, trying to play a physical checking game on the fourth line. When you yourself, Maurice, last year, I don't forget this shit, okay? Last year, before the start of the season, when you were talking about whether Samoskevich and Sordiff were going to make the team, you specifically said, well, I'm not going to have them playing fourth line minutes because they're not that type of player. So I don't forget this. I might forget a lot, but that ain't what I'm going to forget. There should be no reason, absolutely none, zero in the negative, to not, you move everybody else around. Everybody else doesn't know who they're playing with from night to night. We get one goal every night, and you can't move that kid up to the top line for a period to see what the hell would happen. I'm not saying he's going to suddenly turn into Wayne Gretzky, but maybe his energy will create an opportunity where Barkov or Reinhart will pull their head out of their ass and be like, well, he seems to be skating pretty hard. Maybe I should too. Now, that doesn't apply to Barkov as much, but, put him there with Bennett and Kachuk. Wake their asses up. So Chucky has no choice but to start skating. But no, he's a rookie, so we must play with his mind. So I'm very, very much less than pleased with the way that Maurice has been handling Samoskevich, which, by the way, was what I was told by Jets fans would happen with the young players, which is part of the reason why he lost the room. That's what I was told. Whether or not that's exactly how it happened, I don't know. I was told by Jets fans when we got Paul Maurice, this was one of the things that would happen. And I'm not saying he's lost the room, but when he yelled at everybody the other day, right? It was on TV. I forget which game it was. Nothing. Absolutely nothing happened. It might have been the Pittsburgh game. Might have been that game. So I'm going to give Maurice, what did I say? C? Did I say C minus? Can I give him an F? F might be a bit much. I'm irritated as hell with him right now because I don't think he's pressing the right buttons, which has me concerned for when it appears a coach is not pressing the right buttons. That can sometimes mean because the players are not paying attention to the buttons that he's pressing. It'd be hard to think about the team moving on from Maurice a year after we won the cup, and I don't really think that that's what's happening. But I think he's stuck in a situation where he recognizes he can only push these guys so hard because they're tired from 2 cup runs. I'm fine with that. But he's not using the players he has at his disposal properly to help alleviate some of the lack of energy from said veterans. It ain't that difficult, Paul. All right. Now we'll grade the channel. Now, I could go on a long rant about everything that happened in my personal life you guys know about, and the shit you wouldn't believe has gone on behind the scenes that I've had to keep my mouth shut about. I'm not even going to get into it. Sometimes, to be the bigger, better person, you have to walk away from some downright nasty behavior. That's fine. The point is that the lack of content, the inconsistency of content, I'm not making excuses, but if y'all knew what I dealt with on a daily basis for much of the last few months, you would understand. So I've given myself a little bit of a pass, in the sense of there's been some days I probably should have made some content and done some different things, and I just have not had the emotional energy to do it due to things that I can't discuss here. What I know is that coming down there to Florida and meeting, shaking so many of your hands and getting to meet you and hear the stories and everything like that, I am motivated to continue to make this channel work. That said, I am at the crossroads of whether or not I can, because bottom line is I'm $500 to $1,000 a month short every month. I had no more credit cards to fill in the gaps. So I'm starting to fall behind on things and get some grace periods on things, but I'm attempting to figure out some ways to make some money, to bring some money in that aren't involving this channel, because things being what they are in the economy, obviously, we're not making the same amount of money that we have in the past. As an example, last month was far and away our worst month on the channel since we started streaming. So I remain committed to the channel. I'm hoping that the opportunities will present. There's some things that I can try to make happen for myself, but I am only one person. I only have so much energy. I can't work 8 hours a day and then stream 4 or 5 hours a night and do I can't, I can't do all of that and still not be able to pay my bills. Something's got to change. All the years I've put into this, I don't want them to be for nothing. A lot of the times I said, well, I'm spending my time with the kids and the dogs and everything like that. And that was part of the reason why my finances were the way they were. There's some other reasons why they are now that I can't discuss. It's possible that those things could be rectified, but that could be a ways off. Point is, I'm still here. My intent is I would never quit in the middle of a season. That's for sure. That I promise you. I would never quit in the middle of the season. So I know we're here for the rest of this year, no matter what happens. Okay? If I can get myself an income that will fill in the gaps between now and next season so that I can continue to do this, then this channel should be good to go. But at some point, I will become so sick of having to call the electric company to get another month, delay. At some point, I'm going to have had enough of that. And if I have to get a actual real full-time job, unfortunately, at that point, this channel would be a casualty of that. Because I'm 53, there's only so much energy in the day. And as much as I enjoy doing this, the freezers are running out of food. We'll put it that way. So in terms of what this channel has done this year, you know what? F it. I'm going to give myself an A. Because the fact, if you all knew the shit that was going on behind the scenes, you would call me crazy for not having just gone and gotten a job and put this channel to rest. You would all call me crazy if you knew what was going on behind the scenes. But I don't want this channel to be a casualty of somebody else's betrayals. That's what I don't want. And I'm not talking about what some of you might think I'm talking about. All right? So I'm fighting. That's what I can tell you. I'm fighting. We're here the rest of this year. After that, Right now, I have to be honest and say no guarantees. I want to stay. I want to be able to do this, but especially for me to be able to invest the time to make the videos during the day and all of that, something's got to give somewhere. And, credit card debt's pretty much at $20,000 now. They've pretty much cut me off and pretty much tapped out there. So whatever's going to happen is going to have to happen soon. And then we'll go from there. I'll always be honest with you guys. I always keep you guys posted. I just feel like, talking about it with you at the end here, because so many of you came up to me and were like, hey, man, don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. We appreciate it. So many, it's like, I got to eat. You know what I mean? In fact, right now, I seriously need to go get lunch because the live stream's in 45 minutes. So I'll cut it off there. All right. Appreciate all the support. I hope you enjoyed this. I had no idea it was going to be 47 minutes long. I thought it was going to be 20 minutes. So I got to go eat before the live stream, recapture my voice. I'll see you again soon.